In a grand mansion nestled on the edge of the city, there lived a young billionaire named Adrian Cole. His life looked perfect from the outside: wealth, power, prestige, but behind those golden gates, his heart carried a storm of grief. His wife, Elena, had passed away 2 years ago while giving birth to their son, Ethan. Since that day, Adrian's world revolved around his little boy, yet that world was broken in ways no one could see. Ethan was only 3 years old, but he had already gone through more nannies than most people meet in a lifetime. Every caretaker who entered the Cole mansion left in tears. The boy would scream, cry, throw things, and even spit on anyone who tried to come near him. Adrian didn't understand. He had hired the best, trained nannies, child psychologists, even early education specialists, but Ethan rejected them all. It was as if the child had built a wall around his tiny heart, a wall no one could break through. Then one morning, a new face arrived at the mansion. Her name was Maria, a simple young woman from a small town, wearing a plain blue maid's uniform. She didn't have fancy degrees or letters of recommendation. She only had kindness in her eyes and a calm smile that carried quiet strength. When she arrived for the job, even the butler whispered, "You won't last a week here." But Maria just smiled and said, "Let's see what the little one needs." The first meeting didn't go well. Ethan sat in a corner, clutching a worn-out teddy bear. When Maria softly said hello, he glared at her and spat on her arm. The butler gasped, ready to scold the child, but Maria stopped him. She calmly wiped the spit away, looked at the boy, and said gently, "You don't have to like me today, little one. I'll wait until you're ready." Her voice wasn't angry, it was patient, understanding, full of something Ethan hadn't felt in a long time: love without pressure. Over the next few days, Maria didn't force him to play or talk. She simply stayed close, humming lullabies while cleaning, leaving cookies near his toys, talking softly to his teddy bear as if it were a friend. Slowly, Ethan began to notice her. He'd peek from behind the curtains, curious about the woman who didn't yell, didn't scold, and didn't leave. One rainy afternoon, something unexpected happened. Ethan was building blocks when one toppled over, hitting his hand. He started crying, loud and uncontrollable. Adrian, busy on a business call, froze when he heard the scream. But before he could rush in, he saw through the glass door, Maria had already knelt beside the boy, holding his tiny hand gently. "It's okay," she whispered, "tears are just rain from your heart. Let it out." Ethan sobbed harder, then buried his face in her chest. Adrian stood frozen. It was the first time he had ever seen his son hug someone. From that moment, something changed. Ethan began following Maria around the mansion. He'd sit beside her while she folded clothes, help her water plants, or watch her cook. He started smiling, small, shy smiles that melted everyone's heart. Maria would tell him stories about stars, about angels, about how mothers never truly leave, they just watch from the sky. Every time she spoke, Ethan's eyes softened, as if he felt his mother through her words. Adrian noticed it too. He watched from a distance as his once silent house filled with laughter again. One evening, he found Maria and Ethan asleep on the couch, the boy clutching her apron, peaceful for the first time in years. Something stirred inside him, something he hadn't felt since Elena's passing: hope. But the staff began to gossip. "Why does the boss keep watching the maid?" they whispered. Some even said, "He's falling for her." Adrian ignored the talk, until one day, a business associate visited and made a cruel remark about Maria being just a maid. Adrian saw Ethan's reaction. The boy ran to Maria, hugged her tight, and shouted, "Don't talk bad about her. She's my angel." The room went silent. Adrian's eyes welled up. His son, the child who once pushed everyone away, now defended someone with love. That night, as Maria tucked Ethan into bed, he looked up and said softly, "I used to hate everyone, but you smell like mommy." Maria's eyes filled with tears. She kissed his forehead and whispered, "Maybe your mommy sent me to take care of you until you can smile again." Ethan smiled for real that night, and before closing his eyes, he kissed her cheek. Adrian stood quietly by the door, unseen, his heart breaking and healing all at once. He realized it wasn't just Ethan who needed Maria. He did too. She had brought life back into his home, warmth back into his soul. The next morning, as sunlight poured into the mansion, Adrian called Maria to the garden. She looked nervous, afraid she'd done something wrong. But he simply said, "Maria, thank you. You didn't just take care of my son. You brought him, and me, back to life." For the first time in years, he smiled from his heart. As Ethan ran across the lawn, laughing, Adrian turned to her and said softly, "Maybe angels don't always have wings. Sometimes, they wear aprons." Maria blushed, her eyes glistening with quiet emotion. And from that day, the mansion wasn't cold anymore. It was home again, filled with laughter, love, and second chances.